So you're thinking about Airbnb being that home of yours or building your dream home on a chunk of land you're speculating. Not so fast. The governance of land use in the local community is important and is a factor that should not be overlooked. And we're going to take a look at that in today's video. Hi everyone, welcome back to Moving to Milwaukee. Today I'm continuing my interviews from Las Vegas earlier this year. Today's topic is about what you may need to know about zoning laws in a city before you're buying. I want to talk about the general principle and touch base on my market in Milwaukee and, of course, some other areas that I interviewed on from my colleagues. So with that said, let's get right into it. Now, Milwaukee has different neighborhoods with a good division of zones. Many blocks off of the main streets are residential property. Some sit on the main roads, but many lots of land are commercial spaces as well as some mixed-use spaces for local businesses, and this is for ease of access purposes. Some designated areas throughout the southeast Wisconsin area are specifically for industrial property, whether it's for manufacturing or warehouse property. Now, our community does thrive on businesses, so if anything ever decides to be added to a residential area or more housing is built and a lot of land that's undeveloped, those who are executing such a task are advised to make sure that laws check out and are allowed beforehand. And I'm your host, William Loos, the local real estate agent out of southeast Wisconsin. Have any questions about zoning laws in Milwaukee? I've got your back. Give me a call and let's talk today. Now that I've covered my neck of the woods, let's take a look at some other areas throughout the country. Markets that you can think of?
Yes. The zoning law called whoever has the most money and pays off the city will get what they want. That is the zoning law of New York City that it runs by. You know, it's they're constantly doing it. Like they've rezoned a property so that we can have a big high rise on the Upper West, right? They rezoned, or they are actually currently right now rezoning meatpacking districts so that they can build some houses there as well. And they're accepting, I know, bids from a few different developers at the moment. They rezoned Hudson Yards, they rezoned Tribeca when people wanted to get in there. But I think it all kind of starts with somebody, not so much the city having a vision, but somebody with deep pockets having a vision and wanting to get something done.
Makes sense. Yeah. Any special zoning laws or regulations that are unique to your specific market?
So everybody wants to know about our Airbnb zoning rules. Everything has to be registered as a business if you're going to be a nightly rental. If you're a midterm rental, however, that may not be the case. So those are things that I always tell my clients. I always tell my clients, the rules and regs can change on a dime. So you have to just stay in front of them. And if you're going to buy a property one way, have that plan B, because you may have a rule or regulation change that causes you to have to readdress how you hold that property.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not really laws, but something interesting that people, when they move from out of state, are surprised by is our what we call special taxes. And so specials, we call them specials, help pay for the neighborhood. So a neighborhood that's less than 20 years old, 99% of the time is going to have a special tax on top of the general taxes. Mm-hmm. And that pays for the infrastructure, the sewer lines, water, the streets, and sidewalks. So instead of the builders passing it on to the buyer, like right off the bat, they pass it on to the property and it flows for 20 years.
Nothing.
Oh, nothing specific.
No, I always say if you go to a subdivision area where you have like subdivisions and HOAs, and then the rest, the city itself doesn't have an HOA, you know, but then if you don't have the HOA, then you're going to have different things to deal with. There is a reason there is an HOA, you know. The city itself, it's kind of a free wild bird, but like outside, you know, we have all these HOAs and of course deed restrictions and all that stuff, but also it keeps our area clean and provides more for us as, you know, people that live in that area.
That counts.
So, yes. Can we edit that part out? My thought process. We have a lot of rules around renting because there's a lot of seasonal rentals, but we also have a lot of HOAs. Most of our communities are within HOAs. Most of them gated, some not, but there's HOA rules and they're all different. They all have different rules and regulations. A lot of that falls around the renting. So you have to make sure, a lot of them don't allow short-term rentals. So you can't come down and invest in that property if you're looking to Airbnb it.
Sure.
So it's really investigating that, and that's ever changing and evolving. So just keeping on top of all the rental rules and the HOA rules that change on a regular basis.
A little bit of tape to peel off or cut through, so to speak,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Peel back the onion.
Yeah, definitely. That area specifically?
So when I think of zoning in my area, honestly, I think of more the biggie is flood zones, right? So we live in 100 lakes in our county, and there are a lot of lakes that all of the homes are in a flood area, in a flood zone. And for some people, like, that's a deal breaker. Also, then you have to take into account flood insurance, and if that's affordable. And so there are a lot of short-term rentals, investment properties on these on these lakes, because they generate income, and they can be a second home for someone, and then also be like a short-term rental. Well, obviously they're paying more taxes, and then come to find out, oh, if it's in a flood area, and those flood maps change over years. So you could not be in one and then be in one, or vice versa. So being aware of those things, and being able to know where to go.
Sure.
Sure. There are some areas where you can get a pretty decent sized lot, which you may not get in other places, because there's a lot of open land. Of course, we are guided by the Indian reservation on some sides, so we're kind of restricted by that. But at the same time, you can get a decent sized lot for not as much as you would have thought in a big city.
Okay, interesting. What
So in
about
conclusion, zoning can open many doors or block deals. So before you fall in love with a property, check zoning first, or better yet, call someone who knows how to navigate it thoroughly. If you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe button at the bottom to stay in the loop for when I release new content. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.